Hey, this is Seth with In Demand Career. I show people how to get life-changing jobs in digital marketing with no previous experience or education. And that includes my very special guest today, Renzo, who was a political science major working retail jobs like Home Depot and Sam's Club, and not able to find a good job when he found my course. He took the training, hustled very hard, got an entry-level job in digital marketing, and now he is making $80,000 a year doing programmatic advertising for Disney. So this is a very awesome story. Very excited to share it with you. Thanks for being here, Renzo.
Thanks for having me, Seth. Super excited to be talking about my experience and yeah, hope my experience so far can inspire others and help them on their journey.
Awesome, man. I'm sure it will. So why don't you tell people a little bit about your current job working for Disney?
Yeah, definitely. I've been at Disney for about 3 months now. Um, Basically, I'm on the programmatic team, and there I'm in charge of managing campaigns, setting them up, and just making sure that we're performing efficiently and effectively. Programmatic advertising is essentially just kind of having image ads and video ads show up across thousands of websites, um, and just making sure that they're showing up at the right place and right time.
So that's awesome, and we're gonna explain more about how you got into that position, because it's a little bit different than what a lot of my other students do, which is paid search. But that's what's so exciting about this skill set, is that you have room to grow and pivot. But so I'm just curious, just practically, like what kind of budget you're working with, what kind of stuff are you advertising? Because you're talking about, like, again, videos and banners when you're on like another website, like a news website or maybe a entertainment website. You're talking about the ads that show up on the side of the articles and stuff, right?
Right, exactly. So yeah, these are image ads, video ads, show up at the top of a website side or even at the bottom. Video ads that start before a video or in between a video or at the end. So basically what I'm in charge of advertising is our Disney products, our two hotels in the US, Disneyland Resort and Walt Disney World in Florida, and our some of our products. So, for example, I'll get images sent from our creative team, and I'm in charge of activating them and making sure they're showing up on thousands of websites throughout the internet,
Right.
and making sure that they show on the right websites that don't really that make sense with our brand image and don't like we don't want to show up on any bad or explicit websites, for example.
Right, of course. But like, what are you doing? The movies? Are you doing like Marvel stuff? Are you doing just the theme parks? Are you doing, like, I'm curious when you say products, like what you mean, just because everybody knows Disney is such a huge brand. Can you give us an example of some specific products, or any, have you been involved in any of their movies?
Yeah, so they have a separate Disney Plus team. I'm just specifically on hotels, theme parks, and products. So, for example, I'm on the team that sets up these ads for our Star Wars hotel in Florida, our Disneyland Resort out here in California, Walt Disney World in Florida. Um, there's a new Guardians of the Galaxy ride in Florida, so I'm starting to promote that recently. So,
Okay, man. I'm just gonna interrupt you because that's awesome. So like, I mean, I'm a movie fan, so I thought Disney Plus would be pretty cool if you're advertising like Mandalorian or something like that. But you are
yeah,
doing, like you said, like a Star Wars hotel and like Disneyland and Disney World and Guardians
yeah,
of the Galaxy. So this is like fun, you know. I mean, look, I have students that love their jobs even if they're advertising for plumbers, but I think it's awesome that you're advertising such a cool product. So and again, what is your salary at this job?
at this job, it's 80,000 a year.
That's so cool, man. And are you working remotely, or are you going into the office?
I am currently working remotely, um, but I think in the future they're gonna have us start slowly coming in, like once a week. But at the moment, all remote.
Fully remote. And do you live in Southern California?
Yeah, I currently live, Southern California, in LA.
Cool. That's awesome, man. So, of course, everybody wants to know, it's like, how did you get here? So let's go back in time to when you first found my course. Now, you told me that when you were in college, you worked a lot of different types of jobs. And what were you studying in college?
Yeah, I just graduated college, was studying political science, and that's what I majored in. Yeah, just lost, wasn't sure what area I wanted to get into, what career to pursue. So thankfully, I found your course on YouTube. And from there, just learned all about paid search and SEO. Just really dug into the material. Um, and then what I remember really liking is that you helped your students with finding jobs on LinkedIn, Indeed. And then also, I specifically remember after taking a course and getting my first job, that what I think really helped me was that you had me and had everyone kind of print out a template with the different campaigns and ad groups and ads. And I think that's what really stood out for the employer and to the people interviewing me. So yeah, definitely thankful that I found the course online, and yeah, recommend it to everyone who's asked me like what they should do. I always recommend your course.
I appreciate that, man. And he's referring to the spreadsheet assignment that I have. Again, I have assignments
Right.
for people to do. It's part of generating your experience. It's the reason so many of my students get hired. Again, it's like, showing employers that you do know what you're talking about, even if you don't have a lot of experience. So you're in, right. We've heard that from a lot of students, that it really helps them stand out. And what was your first job like, and what were you making there?
Yeah, so my first job was at an agency called Reprise Digital out in Los Angeles, and I was making 40,000 a year. Um, so at that point, I was just extremely excited to have gotten a job in digital marketing. So um, the pay was good too. So yeah, 40,000 a year, and from there, just the entire year, I worked in paid search, and then eventually, when I went to another job, I got a pay bump.
Yeah, so we'll dig into that for a moment. So now you told me some interesting. You tend to. I know you can tell your personality. You're kind of you're low key. You're not. You seem to be very humble. Like you don't even like. You kind of skipped over some key elements that you told me about. So like what kind of ad budgets were you managing at this first job, and what were some of your clients?
Yeah, so the clients that I had at my first job included Best Western, Nintendo, and Jazz Pharmaceuticals. So I was managing
Wait a second.
around.
Wait a second. Wait a second. This is so funny, dude. I love it. You're so low key. You're like, before you're just like Best Western. I was like, and I'm like, Best Western. Wow, that's a really big hotel chain. That's $1 billion company you're managing in your first job, which again, guys, remember, I tell you, the first job, most people are happy with, whether it's 40, 45K or 50K, which has been going up in the last couple of years. But the whole point of the entry level job that's not the end of your career. It's the beginning. The point is to leverage that experience to your next job. Um, and eventually, it's how Renzo got up to, almost double that in a couple of years. But to work on big brands like that is huge. But Nintendo, that's like, that's not just that's like a cool brand, dude. That's everybody. Like, who wouldn't want to work and advertise Nintendo and Disney? It's so funny. That's like awesome. So like, what kind of budgets were that? And like, what was it like managing those brands? Was that exciting? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, Best Western was $1 million budgets a year. Nintendo around the same. Um, I wasn't managing all of that money, obviously, in my first year, but managing some of that. But yeah, it was really fun and exciting. I couldn't believe that I was able, that I had the opportunity to work with these brands, and that helped me a ton as I, went out looking for another job, my next job. So
Right.
being able to talk about those big brands that I worked on in interviews, that helped a ton. So That's what's great about digital marketing and working at an agency specifically is the chance to work on big multi-million dollar brands.
Absolutely, guys. There's like, if you've had, I just interviewed Ivy, who's doing SEO for Crate and Barrel. I've had students with work with like Procter and Gamble, Netflix, like lots of the big companies. And I just to qualify that, there are millions of small businesses and small business accounts that my students work with as well. You just have so many different options, but you do have a chance to work on these big brands with very little experience. And I'm just curious, like for Nintendo, what were you advertising? Were you advertising like the Switch? Were you advertising games? Were you advertising? What were you advertising? Do you remember?
Yeah, I was advertising the Nintendo Switch, all of the Nintendo Switches. I think there were like 4 or 5 different colors, and a variety of different Nintendo games for the Switch, Mario, Zelda. So that was really cool to be able to advertise all of those products using Amazon.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. I totally forgot. So
Yeah,
you were doing primarily Google, I thought, at this first job, but also Amazon. So it was like Best
yeah,
Western, Google, and Nintendo was Amazon.
yeah. So yeah, Best Western was all Google and Bing. Forgot to mention that too. Google and Bing, and then Nintendo, all Amazon. Yeah, but the majority of my time was on Best Western, and it was like 80-20% split. 80% of my time focused on Best Western and 20%
Right.
helping out with keyword matches, finding keywords, implementing negative keywords, stuff like that for Nintendo.
Yeah, so there's a couple other things to unpack here. Number one, how did I guess that? Like you didn't tell me. It's because obviously Best Western is a hotel. There are going to be people on Google searching for, I need a hotel in Akron, Ohio. I need a hotel in this city. So that's all Google search intent, like very broad Google-based product with a big ad budget. Nintendo is making tons of sales on Amazon. It's a retail product. It's, a gaming product. So, I mean, I'm sure they do Google advertising as well, but Amazon is where they're going to be. It's like its own search engine. And then you mentioned that you're doing Amazon ads. So when you got the job, did you know anything about Amazon advertising, or did you get like a little bit of training when you were at the first job?
Yeah, I didn't know anything about Amazon ads when I first started there. So they just trained me on the spot, showed me how to advertise, how to use the app, how to use that platform, right? How to advertise on Amazon essentially. So starting from scratch, no previous experience.
You go, guys. And that's once you got your foot in the door, you've demonstrated that initial competency. Now they know you understand digital marketing. You understood Google search. And so they're like, oh, we're going to train you. Now you have another skill set in your arsenal. So, okay, you worked at that job for about a year. And then what happened?
Yeah, so I worked at Reprice Digital for about a year until I made a switch to another agency, Wavemaker, out in Los Angeles. So I was able to stay local. Was on the Amazon search team there. That's what I got hired as. So my previous Amazon experience from my first agency job helped me land this next role. So yeah, I was able to stay in the digital marketing space. And I remember when I was applying, there were a ton of paid search, Amazon search opportunities. So the opportunities are out there. You just have to find them. So yeah, got hired there as an entry level Amazon search associate. And yeah,
You told me, and just to dig into your story a little bit further. So just a couple of things, guys. Number one, again, primarily my students are getting jobs in Google search and SEO. And some students have gone off into Amazon, but like you mentioned at your job, it was like 80% Google, 20% Amazon. Most jobs are Google. But it's exciting to see that you got, a taste of your a little bit of Amazon experience at your first job that you leveraged into that being your complete focus in your second job. But I believe if you had stuck with the Google as terms of what you were looking for, you would have been, you would have easily gotten another job. Is there a reason you decided to stick with Amazon as your focus versus Google search?
well, to be honest, when I left Reprise Digital, it was just I had an injury, so I just left and took a break for a couple months, 5 to 6 months. Um, So when I started applying, I applied to Google search, right? Everything paid search, basically. But it just turned out that this position, this team, it was the right fit, right moment, right timing, right? And they offered me the position, even though I told them like my my more of my skill set is more in Google search, not as much Amazon. But they said it's fine, we'll train you, we'll teach you. You have at least a little experience in Amazon search. We'll show you more, essentially.
That's great. So it's interesting because it is kind of like you did do like a lateral move, as you said, but
Right.
then what happened like a couple months into this job? What happened?
Yeah, so unfortunately, a couple months into this new role, um, this Amazon search team was broken up. There was just some issues with our client, which happens all the time. But the great thing about working at an agency is they're not going to let you go. They're going to find other teams to put you on. So they gave you an option to work in stay in paid search, but with the New York team based in over there on the East Coast, or stay in LA, stay local, and work on a new uh, digital marketing niche called programmatic, and stay in LA. So I ultimately just decided to stay in LA and learn this new skill, essentially. And they were okay with teaching me everything from all the steps, essentially, from step one.
That's incredible. Um, yeah. So again, you already from what you learned in the course, you then went on and you got Amazon ad experience and training, and you got programmatic display advertising training, which I'll explain. We kind of told people what it is generally before. We'll go a little more into it now or in a minute. But that's a whole other skill set. I mean, you are now able to apply. Resume is just so solid, man. So, and then but I'm curious, this happened like a year ago, right? Or this happened this year? So they wanted you to physically relocate to New York?
This happened in 2021, last year, and they didn't want me to physically uh, relocate, just work with their team, but
Okay,
work their hours.
right.
So
Oh,
I
the New
was,
York hours. Got it. Yeah. If you're in the West
yeah,
Coast, better to work West Coast hours. Okay, I would have been surprised if they wanted you to physically relocate, but it's good to hear. It's still all remote. So, and then what happened in terms of your pay in the time from when you started with programmatic with no experience to now?
yeah. So yeah, when I got that new job on Amazon search team, making 40K, that team was broken up, went to programmatic, still at 40K. And then after 8 months of doing programmatic, or 8 to 9 months, I was promoted. And then I got a bump to 70,000 a year.
Guys, I just want to point this out that you look at most other industries, you're not going to see that kind of growth. You're going to see like, hey, I got a 10% raise or I got a 5% raise. That is like almost double your salary. And honestly, what you should be making. I mean, the thing, your story is a little unique. And this, what I like to, as a teaching point for people is that if you stay in paid search, for example, or SEO or Amazon ads, and you keep building over a year, once you have a year of experience, you're going to get a big pay bump. But you expanded your skill set and jumped from paid search to Amazon ads to display ads, and that's why you kind of you're more of like you were like flat and then jump. But now you're right where you should be, which is a couple years into your career making 80K. Putting Disney and Nintendo on your resume, I mean, it's just, I mean, honestly, you should be you can get up to six figures very soon. Um, and yeah, and so um, regarding the job itself, like, tell us a little bit about, do you enjoy it? Like, what's your day-to-day like?
Oh yeah, I love it here at Disney. It's been great so far. Everyone's so kind, so willing to help. The atmosphere is great, great culture. I've been learning a ton, right? Even though I have a year of experience already, there's so much more that one can learn. So that's been great. Yeah, and then there's some cool Disney benefits. One of them is I get to go in to any Disneyland park I want for free, and I can bring in up to 3 people. So it's a great reason to want to stay at Disney forever, you know? So
That's
it's a
wow.
great perk.
That's a great perk if you love the Disney resorts and theme parks, which who doesn't, right? I'm sure your family or your I don't know. I always when I lived in LA and I had friends or I was dating, all the girls loved Disney. So I remember is that and I mean I did too. I mean I went there a couple of times myself. So it's obviously still a great brand. Um, have you brought your family or friends to the parks?
Yeah, I've already taken my parents like 4 times. My little sister, she's a huge Disney fan, so she's been absolutely loving it. People that I haven't talked to in a while are hitting me up. It's because of these free tickets now. So,
You got the
but no, it's been great. It's been awesome. It definitely really is an awesome perk.
So with this perk of being able to get into the parks, Disney parks for free, like how often do you go?
Yeah, so I've been going around twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week if I'm not too busy. Um, Thankfully, I live super close to Disney, around about 15 minutes. So once I head out of work, I'll just go after basically taking my parents, sister, and my girlfriend as well. She loves Disney, so it's been awesome.
That's such a great it's such a great perk. So what are you doing like in summertime especially? So like how late do you stay? Do you stay till the park closes, like till 9 or 10 or
Oh yeah, yeah. We stay till 11, 12, midnight. Try to get on and on as many rides as we can. Towards the end of the evening, there's less lines, so that's why we're there so late.
that's really magical, man. I mean, that's really unique. What the day to day, like you're working 40 hours a week? Do you have like flexibility? Like, do you have teams that you check in with every day?
Yeah, so I work 40 hours a week, um, 8 to 5. Um, yeah, team's great. I have a manager who's phenomenal, um, who's been doing programmatic for around 4 years. So he's been really teaching me a lot. And all of the other managers there are just phenomenal and wonderful people to be around. And I'm just, yeah, just extremely happy and, grateful to be here and work for Disney. And I honestly never thought I would work for such a huge and, reputable company. So it would not have been possible if I had not found your course on YouTube. So forever grateful to you, Seth. Honestly.
Oh, dude, I'm so happy to hear that, and you're welcome. That is why I made the course and why I continue to teach it. So I'm very happy to hear that, man. And you're still really just at the very beginning of your career. I mean, you're only a couple of years in, and doing very well. Um, and Yeah, I think I mean it seems like a good place to kind of wrap things up because I think we got a really good clear picture of your journey. Um, and again, I'm very happy for you. Is there anything else you want to say to anybody watching the video, considering the course before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I think if anyone's really indecisive about purchasing the course, I think, my experience and my journey really shows what this course, can do for you because, it's changed my life. It's helped me so much in my career. I've learned a ton, and the skills that you learn are so extremely important, especially in today's day and age. And the number of job opportunities, the growth in this field is insane. I've only been in here in this area for 2, 3 years, but I see just so many jobs popping up on LinkedIn, Indeed, digital marketing, paid search, SEO, programmatic. So it's really if you want a stable job that pays well and has opportunity for advancement, definitely go into this field, buy the course. It'll honestly be a great decision and you won't regret it.
It's very well said, Renzo. Thanks, man. I like it. You're just telling it straight. And yeah, you guys can people reach out to you with any questions on LinkedIn?
Oh yeah, definitely. Would love to help as many people as I can.
Awesome. So I'll put Renzo's LinkedIn link below the video. You can reach out to him. You can always reach out to pretty much any of my students, and you can reach out to me through my email, seth@digitalcareerblueprint.com. But yeah, man, thanks for sharing the story, with everybody. I really appreciate it. And yeah, keep me posted. We'll circle back and do another one of these in the future. And it was great chatting with you.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much for having me, Seth.